And today, an animal shelter in the Shoals is headed to court in hopes the man who deputies took nearly 70 dogs from will pay up. WAAY 31's Luke Hydash joins us live with why the shelter says it needs the money. Luke?
Hi, Megan. The Florence Lauderdale County Animal Shelter really has been overrun and overworked since the shelter took in those 68 dogs from LaMarcus Rick's home nearly 2 months ago. And now they want to get some extra cash to help pay for them all. Today, a Lauderdale County judge will decide if and how much money that animal shelter is going to get, because leaders there say they desperately need that cash for things like cages and shelter, food, even help pay for those vet bills for all of these dogs. Now, these dogs were taken in after investigators picked up LaMarcus Ricks in Killen for dogfighting back in October. And since then, the shelter's really had too little space and too many expenses. Ricks, by the way, has pleaded not guilty to those animal cruelty charges he's facing. He's due in court in December for that. As far as the hearing for whether or not the shelter will get that extra money, that hearing is scheduled for 10 o'clock this morning at the Lauderdale County Courthouse. Reporting live this morning, Luke Hydash, WAAY 31 News.
Luke, thank you. This morning, investigators are looking for a man they say tried to shoot and kill someone in a Huntsville Walmart parking lot. Happened Sunday afternoon at the store on Sparkman Drive. 43-year-old Randy Lewis is accused of attempted murder. Police say Lewis and the victim were arguing when he pulled out a gun. That victim is still in critical condition. If you know where Lewis could be, call Huntsville Police. Time is 6:35. Newly elected U.S. Senator Katie Britt will help the Republican National Committee review the party's midterm performance. She'll serve on a new Republican Party Advisory Council with 9 others. The council is expected to publish a full report on the GOP's midterm performance early next year. It will also work to attract new voters to the party. Today, U.S. lawmakers are expected to vote on a measure that would avert a rail workers' strike. Leaders in the House say they have enough votes to pass the plan. If passed, the Senate could take up that plan this week. The president says a strike would shut down the U.S. economy.
An easy call, but I think we have to do it. The economy is at risk.
Jobs will be lost. Even union jobs will be lost. Water will not be safe. Product will not be going to market.
Railroad unions are asking freight companies for more paid sick time and paid time off. New this morning, the CDC is using more than $3 billion to improve health systems across the country. That money will be used to recruit and train new doctors, contact tracers, and community health workers. We're working to learn this morning just how much of that money is coming to Alabama. The majority of states in our country are dealing with high flu activity right now, 2/3 of states, and Alabama is one of them. CDC data shows there's been more than 6 million flu cases across the U.S. so far this season. This is also the highest hospitalization rate for this time of the year since the 2011 flu season. Unfortunately, doctors worry it could only get worse.
A lot of virus circulating in communities, some of the busiest travel days in the last few years, and all mitigations have been lifted. So people need to be on the lookout. There could be a lot more sickness around the corner.
Now in Alabama, the State Department of Health says at least 11 people have died from the flu this season, 2 of them children. It's your last chance to help Huntsville city leaders improve walking trails around the city. At 5:30 tonight, there's a public meeting at Williams Middle School. City leaders in the Land Trust of Alabama will use your ideas to upgrade greenways. And Huntsville Mayor Tommy Battle says his focus is on keeping up with the city's growth. Mayor Battle recognized Huntsville is now the largest city in the state at his annual State of the City address yesterday. Almost 500 people move to the Rocket City each month. But Mayor Battle says maintaining the growth will not come without a challenge.
Our greatest challenge is not to rest on laurels. I mean, when you get named the best city, best is a finite place right here, and you've got to go beyond best. You got to keep working to make sure that you get better every day, and we can't sit back and rest on any laurels or anything else.
He says the city will hire more first responders to keep up with the growth. So next year, it's planning on adding 24 new officers along with additional firefighters. Carson?
6:38 on what is a much quieter Wednesday morning. All that's left on the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker early warning. Radar network is a couple of very light showers that are barely visible. More sprinkles than anything else in Jackson and Marshall County. That is the cold front. Once those light showers move into northwestern Georgia, the cold front is gone and that colder air takes over. What you're looking at right now, of course, is Albertville. Kind of an ominous view. Nothing to be alarmed about. The severe weather threat is is gone. Look at those temperatures, though. 61 out at the Sand Mountain Park and Amphitheater. That will be your high temperature for the day. We'll talk about that temperature trend in a moment. One thing I'll also mention about visibility this morning, we're not seeing much in the way of fog. That's some good news. But of course, if you're in the higher terrain, some of those low clouds could act as fog, so just keep that in mind. Roads, of course, are wet, and there could be some tree limbs and leaves left in the road from all that wind and rain we saw last night. Just plan on an extra 10 minutes for your morning commute. Temperatures drop throughout the day today. We'll be down to 50 by 9 a.m. into the 40s this afternoon. Staying in the 50s on Thursday. We start to warm up again on Friday, but as we warm up, the rain chances go up, and we could see a lot more rain in the next 7 days. We'll have an updated look at your rainfall forecast in a few minutes. Megan?
Carson, thank you. The busiest shopping weekend of the year is over, but you can still find plenty of holiday deals. And Auburn's new head football coach addresses his past, his message to the university and his new team.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching Way 31 Morning News with Megan Reyna, Chris Tatum, meteorologist Carson Meredith, and the Way 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
Welcome back, everyone. 6:43. We do have a traffic alert to pass along to drivers in Huntsville. At 9 this morning, workers will squeeze parts of Pratt Avenue down to one lane. This is both the east and westbound lanes between Dixon to Dimmitt Street. The lanes will be closed for 6 months while crews relocate utilities and install drainage systems. New this morning, the chairman of the committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot says a final report is almost ready. He says that report will likely be released before Christmas. We'll focus on former President Donald Trump's role in the riot and other factors that led to the breach of the Capitol. Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes is waiting to learn his sentence after being convicted of seditious conspiracy. It was for his role in the January 6th Capitol riot. The Justice Department charged about 50 people with some form of conspiracy related to that riot. A bill that will protect the marriage rights of same-sex and interracial couples is headed to the U.S. House. The bill passed the Senate yesterday. It would require states to recognize legal marriages regardless of sex, race, ethnicity, or national origin. New data shows promising results for an experimental drug used to slow the progression of Alzheimer's. The research shows the drug reduced symptoms of the disease by 27%. The drug's makers say they will apply for FDA approval by March. Researchers say the drug did have some side effects like headaches, brain swelling, and brain bleeding. New this morning, retailers are counting the profits after a record number of people went holiday shopping over Thanksgiving weekend. The National Retail Federation says nearly 200 million people hit the stores or went online for holiday deals. That's a 10% increase from last year. Experts say you can still catch some holiday sales even if you missed out on Black Friday or Cyber Monday.
Retailers have really responded by moving those deals and promotions up earlier to give people more time. Particularly right now with inflation top of mind, consumers are looking to spread out some of that spending.
Adobe Analytics says shoppers spent more than $11 billion over Thanksgiving weekend. This holiday season is, of course, in full swing, but doctors warn that you have to be careful putting up those holiday decorations. They're giving you some directions, that is. Health leaders say, unfortunately, a number of emergency room visits are because of electrical injuries. So if you're stringing up lights, they say make sure there are no broken bulbs or frayed wires.
If you're unsure or if you're using equipment, electrical cords that are either frayed or in not good condition, it's either to get new or to advise an electrician before you're overloading an outlet or a power socket.
They say another common injury comes from people falling. So they say make sure you're using a sturdy ladder or that your step stools are on stable grounds. I mean, you don't want to miss out on the holiday decorations, but just be safe. New Auburn head football coach Hugh Freeze wants to put his past behind as he starts a new era on the Plains. Freeze addressed his stint at Ole Miss that ended in 2017 after he violated the NCAA rule and made calls to escort services on work phones. Freeze says he made a mistake and will work every day to make Auburn fans proud.
I don't know anybody in this room that doesn't deserve a second chance. And truthfully, if everybody's life was documented as mine, it would probably be uncomfortable for a lot of people. And, I don't know if deserve is the word, but I sure am thankful for grace and that I do get to keep fighting every day for another chance.
Former interim head coach Cadillac Williams will remain on the Auburn coaching staff. A lot of people were very happy with this news. Freeze described him as invaluable. In his statement, Williams says Freeze is a man of faith and that he shares many of the same values when it comes to coaching. 6:47 and time to get a check that forecast with Storm Tracker meteorologist Carson Meredith. Carson, any more rain this morning that we're tracking? Because, boy, there was a lot yesterday.
There sure was, Megan, but fortunately, pretty much all of the rain is done. On the Way 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network, all I'm tracking are just some very light sprinkles in Jackson and Marshall counties. These will be out of our coverage area in the next hour or so. If you are not in Jackson, Marshall, or DeKalb counties, your rain chances are, in fact, completely done for the day. But my goodness, did we see a ton of rain yesterday afternoon and last night. These are estimates from our 3 radar sites in the Shoals, Decatur, and Guntersville. You notice many spots across North Alabama saw widespread amounts of 3, even 4 inches of rain, a couple of spots. And if you were watching us yesterday morning, we were talking about our southern counties seeing the most rain out of this event. And sure enough, areas near the Coleman-Blount County line saw closer to 5 and 6 inches of rain. All of that in just the last 24 hours. And unfortunately, we've got a lot more on the way in the next 7 days. This morning, though, we are quieting down. You see those clouds are moving out pretty quickly on the Way 31 Skycam network. Look at those temperatures. 58 in Huntsville, 58 in Decatur, 61 in Guntersville. Those are your close to high temperatures for the day. As that cold front moves through, those temperatures will drop all day long. In fact, by 9 a.m., we'll already be down to 50 degrees. We'll stay in the 40s throughout the afternoon, and that's despite plenty of sunshine later on today and also factor in a very stout breeze now coming out of the north and northwest, reinforcing that colder air. At least for the first half of the day, we'll have those gusts around 20-25 miles per hour. That'll give us a wind chill in the low 40s, maybe even the upper 30s before the day is out. Here's future radar. By noon, we've got mostly sunny skies, but it's getting chilly and getting chilly quick. By 7 o'clock this evening, bundle up. Temperatures down into the mid-30s for any Wednesday night plans you might have. You see some clouds filter back in tomorrow morning, but it'll still be cold. Temperatures in the upper 20s when you wake up on Thursday. We'll keep that mix of sun and clouds throughout the day tomorrow, staying completely dry. High temperatures, yet again, in that low 50s range. Fortunately, this is a quick cold spell. We'll start to warm things back into the 60s on Friday, staying in the 60s this weekend. But those rain chances will make a comeback. It's all thanks to a stalled frontal boundary. It's going to stall out somewhere nearby. Where it stalls out, that remains to be seen. But that will keep our rain chances in the forecast starting Friday night, staying with us through the weekend, and maybe through early next week. And all those off-again, on-again showers are going to add up, especially in our Tennessee counties, where we could see 2 to 3 inches of rain over the next 7 days. Many of our Alabama counties picking up another 1 to 2 inches of rain on top of all the rain we saw last night. Might have some issues with those creeks and rivers flooding by next week. We'll keep a close eye on that. Until then, we got a couple of dry and cool days with highs in the 50s today and tomorrow. And then those highs are back in the 60s this weekend with overnight lows in the 50s. Megan?
Carson, thank you. It is 6:50 right now on your Wednesday morning. Up next, we'll have your Way 31 Fastcast with those headlines you need to know as you head out the door. Stay with us.
Good morning. Coming up here on GMA, more than 24 tornado reports just overnight in the severe weather outbreak. At least 3 states, and this morning moving east, Alabama, the panhandle of Florida. I'm going to be tracking where it's headed north, especially with the wind and snow. And then we've got to get into the new stunning details on that Delphi murders case. So the court documents revealed what led police to make an arrest more than 5 years later. Dan Abrams and Brad Garrett are going to break it down for us. And we're going to have those stories and so much more coming up right here on Good Morning America.
Welcome back, everyone. Time is 6:54, and we want to get you ready with these top stories as you head out the door. One woman is without a home this morning after a lightning strike started a fire. Madison firefighters say it happened at a house on Cannon Drive last night. Fortunately, that woman is okay. No one was hurt, but the Red Cross is providing her and her pets a place to stay. People in the Shoals will have some cleaning up to do after those storms moved through yesterday. The Colbert County EMA director says this barn's roof collapsed near Shaw Road and 6th Street. Fortunately, we have no injuries to report in North Alabama this morning. Morgan County deputies need your help finding a missing person. 77-year-old Roy James Pierce was last heard from around 10 o'clock last night. He sent a text saying he was at a Dollar General. Deputies say he may have a condition that impairs his judgment. If you see him, call the Morgan County Sheriff's Office. We now know the names of the 2 people killed in a 3-car crash in Boaz. The Marshall County coroner says Eli Frey and Frida Head died at the scene. It happened on Bulla Road near Shiloh Farms last night. Police are still looking into what led up to that multi-vehicle crash. Today, Florence Lauderdale animal shelter leaders are asking a judge to force a man charged for dogfighting to pay them back for caring for his 68 dogs. The shelter wants LaMarcus Ricks to cover the cost for rescuing and caring for those dogs since mid-October. The shelter says before this case, they were already overcrowded and are now struggling with day-to-day operations. Ricks is also charged with animal cruelty. Today, U.S. lawmakers are expected to vote on a measure that would avert a rail workers' strike. Leaders in the House say they have enough votes to pass the plan. If passed, the Senate could take up the plan this week. The president says a strike would shut down the U.S. economy. It's your last chance to help Huntsville city leaders improve walking trails around the city. At 5:30 tonight, there will be a public input meeting at Williams Middle School. City leaders and the Land Trust of Alabama will use your ideas to upgrade greenways. Carson.
Well, temperature-wise for now, it feels pretty good out there in the upper 50s near 60. Don't get used to it, folks. It's going to get cold real quick this morning. Down to 50 by 9 a.m. We'll be in the 40s this afternoon. We'll have a good bit of sunshine before the day is through, but it will be a chilly sunshine. Could have some gusts out of the north around 25 miles per hour. Look at the 7-day. We'll have a couple of dry days today and tomorrow. And then starting Friday evening, that rain is back. And unfortunately, Megan, it's going to be with us on again, off again, on again, off again through early next week.
Oh, Carson.
I try my best.
I know you have to be the bearer of bad news
Yep.
sometimes.
Yep.
All right, thanks so much for joining us. We're so glad that everyone stayed safe.
Yes.
24/7 coverage you can count on. Go to waytv.com. GMA is next.
Good Wednesday morning, North Alabama. The rain is finally moving out and those colder temperatures are about to move in. Temperature-wise right now, we're in the mid-50s, but we will see those temperatures drop the rest of this morning down to 50 by 9 a.m. and eventually the 40s this afternoon. But for your morning drive, it could still be a bit messy, that is. Roads are still wet. Could have some tree limbs down after all that wind and rain last night, and we'll keep that chance for a couple of showers at Sand Mountain through 9 o'clock. Well, the rain is pretty much out of here, but now the colder temperatures are starting.